Part 5, Self-Publishing Path. Chapter 23, Formatting Hell. If you decide to self-publish, then the previous chapter is mostly irrelevant after you've got the editing done. However, self-publishing starts a whole new set of things you must do. Extreme planning is helpful here, as well as being a control freak, some detail-oriented obsession, and lots of time, especially the first time around, for learning the process. Because a self-published author basically does everything themselves, that means you need to learn the following skills, or be prepared to pay someone to do them for you. More editing, yes, a final polish. Trust me, there are still typos in there. Oh, side note, even trad-published professional books have typos. But a good rule of thumb is to have fewer than one per 3,000 words. Formatting, for ebook and print book, interior and exterior. Cover art, for ebook, print book, and audiobook. Audiobook. Publishing to various platforms. Promotion. Getting reviews. Now, promotion and getting reviews would be your responsibility whether you self-publish or go traditional, but a traditional publisher would take some of the burden from you as an author. That doesn't mean they'll do everything, unless you are Stephen King or James Patterson, but they can do some of it. Since you likely are not, if Stephen King is actually reading my little book on extreme planning, I would let out such a huge fan squeak he would hear it in Maine. And then probably write a best-selling horror book about the awful sound. Then you need to learn how to promote yourself. The next chapters will address each one of these areas. Final editing/proofreading. Because you are self-publishing, you cannot rely on your publisher to give your manuscript a final, professional edit. This is an area where you should not skimp, and professional editing/proofreading can make the difference between readers considering your work amateur rather than professional. Formatting. As a self-pub author, you have lots of decisions to make. At the moment, you need to decide what formats to offer your book in. Ebook, the easiest to format, but usually the lowest price point. Print, there's still a huge market for print books, but they have a higher price point and a lower profit. Also, you risk getting stuck with lots of unsold print copies. Audiobook, a booming market, but requires a lot of work on top of what you've already done. Audiobook production is covered in a later chapter. What to include? Of course, you want to include the actual meat of the book, but there are other items to include in your final proof. For instance, you'll want to start with a title page, a copyright notice, and any dedications, forewords, or acknowledgments. You might have a pronunciation guide, map, list of major characters, or prologue to increase your reader's immersion into your world. After your manuscript, you may have an epilogue, an author's note, a section about the author, a listing of your other books, and perhaps a preview of another book, which can be an excellent marketing tool. You may also wish to thank your readers and request they leave a review. Once you have all these sections compiled into your draft, you'll need to format it. Ebook. You will need to adjust your formatting depending on what publishing platform you choose, but you will, at a minimum, need to format the book consistently and convert into an electronic format. Note, Lulu, Draft 2 Digital, and Smashwords only require a .doc or .docs document and will convert from that to the other formats. .mobi, Mobi or Moba Pocket is the format that Amazon's Kindle readers use. Some of the Kindle models will also read other formats, but this is by far the most common for these readers. Nook, however, doesn't read this type of file. .epub, Nook, Androids, Kindle Fire, and most other devices will read .epub formats. PDF, most anything can read on a PDF, but you lose the ability for pages to shift based on the screen size, a huge advantage to dedicated readers and phones. Note, Lulu, Draft 2 Digital, and Smashwords only require a .doc or .docs document and will convert from that to the other formats. There are other formats, but these are the primary ones most people create their books in. In order to properly format the interior of the book, you'll have to use a converting program. There are lots out there. A converting program will take your manuscript from a Word document and format it into the necessary ebook forms. Some are very basic, some are more complex. The basic ones offer few options for personalizing your book, but the complex ones require some learning curve to understand them. For any of these, check with your local library, as they may have copies on their computers. Calibre, free from KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, basic with few options. You can upload a Word .doc or .docs file. Judo, a few more options than Calibre. Vellum, most people agree Vellum is great. However, it has a few drawbacks, including only being available for Mac. While you can use it in a Mac simulator, I tried this and found it clunky for my tastes. It's pretty expensive, though, $. InDesign, part of the Adobe suite, this is incredibly flexible with lots of options. It also has a very steep learning curve. I've used Photoshop for decades, and it still took me all day to figure out how to format my book for print. Even for the second book, its quirks meant it took me 4 hours. However, I have it exactly how I want it. Costs $, but that's per month. Scrivener, primarily a drafting tool with great organization functions, it also offers digital formatting options, but no print formatting. Cost about $. Word, while highly popular for writing the manuscript, doesn't allow for ebook formatting. Its print formatting is also unadvisable. Readsy, free but again, with limited options. More options pop up all the time, so do some research. Read the reviews. Find out what's most important to you. Short learning curve? Cost? More options? Once you've chosen your software, you have other decisions to make. Will you have left justified or right justified text, leaving a ragged edge to your columns, or full justified, like newspaper columns? Check the top sellers in your genre to check what the standard is. Will you allow hyphenation of words to aid that full justification, or prefer wide spacing for shorter lines? What font should you use? Most e-readers allow the reader to change their font. For print reading, serif fonts have been more common in the past. You might use the same font from your book cover art on the title page, but other than that, keep it simple to one font throughout for the text, and perhaps one for the chapter titles. Do you want an image for scene breaks instead of the traditional ####, or? Do you want a drop cap at the beginning of each chapter? A drop cap is the large initial capital letter that takes up 2 to 3 lines of space and is used in several genres in traditional publishing. Some of the above programs allow for that, but some do it poorly. Most ebook formatting platforms will help you create a linkable table of contents. Some of them are less user-friendly and require a lot of fixing for their automatic linking. Page numbers? Pretty much useless for readers, but print copies will need this decision made. Top? Bottom? Middle? Right/left? Starting page 1 on the first page of chapter 1, rather than the front matter, is standard. Headers/footers, if you are formatting a non-fiction book or have some inline notes, these are important. Once you have your ebook cover art complete and your interior format finished, you can upload your ebook to your distributors of choice. Print. Print books require all of the above decisions plus a few more. Why, in this day and age, would an author want to go through the trouble and expense of having print copies? Several reasons. First, not everyone likes reading ebooks. Many people still love to read print copies. Second, libraries still request print copies. While they also carry ebooks to borrow, if you want books available in libraries, you should offer a print option. Third, it's much easier to get your books into local bookstores if you have prints. Fourth, if you attend any author events, it's much easier to sign and sell print copies in person. Most platforms such as Spark, Amazon, and Lulu offer print on demand, so you can print only the number of books you want. Some of the above software platforms do not format for print, as they are ebook only. Readsy, InDesign, and Vellum all have print options. Do some research before you commit if you are looking to have print copies. Additional concerns for print formatting. You must determine your trim size, or how big you want your final book to be. I prefer 6 inches by 9 inches, but there are several options. Keep in mind that the larger the book, the fewer the pages, and most print platforms calculate their printing costs by the page. Avoid widows and orphans, single lines left over from a paragraph on the bottom or top of pages. Check any unusually hyphenated words, especially proper nouns. Pay attention to what pages are on the left and the right. Your title page should be on the right, after a blank page. Your chapters should start on the right. Revisit your justification choices. Is full justification still working? Or is left better? If you are fully justifying, check for those odd paragraphs where the last line is stretched across. Check the number of spaces before each chapter title for consistency. Double-spaced or single-spaced? Maybe 1.5? What size font should you use? Make certain the font you use is licensed for print and ebooks. If you had hyperlinks in your ebook, consider writing out the HTML for the print version, as hyperlinks won't be useful on the page. What color and weight paper will you use? You will also need to create a wraparound cover that includes your spine and back cover, as the ebook only requires a front. This adds another dimension, as you must calculate how large an area to give your spine based on the number of pages. Both KDP and Spark have calculators to create templates for wraparound covers to help you create them properly. Will you use a matte or glossy cover? Make sure to create your front and back matter, copyright page, dedication, thank you page, other books by page, preview for another book, about the author, etc. Once you have your cover art and your formatted interior, you can then upload both files to your distributor of choice. I highly recommend ordering a proof copy before you go live to ensure your formatting for both interior and exterior works the way you intended. As an extreme planner, I have extensive checklists with each of the above points for each of my books. It helps me remember the niggling details and avoiding a horrific discovery of skipping one later after I'm already at an author signing and noticing the font on my title page is off.